You gotta just chill out, man.
Pittsburgh Steelers fans, welcome back to another episode of the Scho Bro Show. This is Steel Curtain Network's Dave Schofield coming at you Tuesday night, a little after 9 p.m. Where else would you rather be, Steelers fans? And with me as always, except when he's not, is my big brother Rich, Big Bro Scho. How's the air going tonight?
Everybody can take a moment and join with me as we breathe in that sweet smell of a Steeler victory.
Yes, you know what? That's a nice one. I'm going to tell everyone right now. Right now, the title of our show was about the Steelers playing on Thursday night. We are halfway from the last game to the next game. A little bit past that, just if you want to break it down by the hour. We are going to talk about the Steelers playing on Thursday night. But first we're going to talk about the Steelers playing this past Sunday. We're going to, this is Tuesdays normally our transition day when we go from one Sunday to the next. It's a little bit past that now because we already had, Tomlin Tuesday was on Monday. We've already got 2 injury reports from the Steelers, although one of them was actually from a practice. It's all compressed down for this week, but we're still going to talk a little bit about the last game, and then we're going to roll into to really break down what stuff going on Thursday nights. So, Rich, this is what we do because we specifically do not talk to each other for the time the Steelers game is over until we come on this show. We exchange a couple pleasantries before we start, ask about family, but we save our Steelers talk for you all. That's what this show is. This is a family show. This is a couple brothers talking Steelers. It's just what we do. Rich, how are you feeling after that one? I know a little bit how you're feeling because I get to read Knee Jerk and edit it. You know a little bit how I'm feeling because you probably hear some of the post-game show. But now communicating together, really, what did this one do for you?
This one to me, and I felt it as the game was going on. I really reflected it while I was watching you guys on the post-game show. And that was, this really built off of the game before the bye. They built, I felt like they built up to play the Vikings. They built and took some of the things from that and put it into this one. And I'm really starting to like some of what I'm seeing on both sides of the football.
Yeah. Hey, I'm going to go ahead and dip into our live chat right now already and bring this one up. This is from AFL 67. I think that was the year AFL might have been born because I know they talked about being an older fan. I don't know. Maybe AFL spelled that out sometime. Oh, and it went away. So let me bring it back up again. It says, very nice. We got all those points without the defense giving us any turnovers to lead an easy score. That's right. The defense had an opportunity to have a number of takeaways. They didn't come through. But if you're going to have a game, sometimes the ball just doesn't go the right way. Nick Herbig tips it, and it's just a little bit too far. Patrick Queen lays out for it. It's just a little bit too far. Juan Thornhill gets a chance to have a pick against his old team, and it's just, that one was not excusable. I think, I don't know. He catches that one probably 19 times out of 20. But that one was bad. But sometimes you have one of those games where the takeaways just don't go your way in that regard. If you're going to have a game where that happens, it was fine that it was this one. Because the Steelers won this one decisively without it.
The way I put it to our dad when I stopped by and talked to him tonight was that I was okay that the Steelers didn't come up with any of those turnovers because they didn't need them to still win the game comfortably.
Yeah, exactly. And you know what? A game where they did need a bunch of takeaways, where they got 5 of them, they needed them in order to win that game. And I tell you what, as the weeks go on, that win's looking a little bit better because they're another team that's sitting there. If the playoffs started after week 6, the Patriots would be in there. So that win's going to be a little bit helpful as as the season goes out. Because not only that, they're leading the East now. They're a division leader. So that one's doing a little bit better. And hey, it's all right that they had to use 5 there. I'd rather them have 5 in a game that they needed them there and none against the Browns than to have 3 and 2. Honestly, yeah. But
Dave,
yeah.
while we're sitting here playing the fun number stuff, I know you've got this one in your back pocket, right?
Hopefully.
The last 3 weeks
Mm-hmm.
in the AFC North,
Yes.
the Steelers are 2-0,
Yes.
and the rest of the AFC North
Is
is
0-9.
0-9.
I mean, yeah, you couldn't ask for a better 3-week stretch right there. You really couldn't. And I'll be honest with you, I think that the Steelers, I think they played this game against the Browns very similar to how they played against the Vikings. They got their score on the first play of the fourth quarter, and the Steelers, I think they let up a little bit. But I don't think they let up. I don't think they went. How do I say it? I don't think they had a let up mentality. I think they were like, let's protect ourselves because we play on Thursday mode.
Right.
And they could do it against this team without really having to take on a big comeback.
Well, and the other thing, though, is, we got some guys out of the game.
Yeah.
And I started to say it at first, but the Steelers came through for me. I was worried that we had too quickly gone into the, too deep, cover two, zone, let them go right up and, let them chunk off way too many yards. And the Steelers actually did not do that. They still brought pressure.
Still
brought blitzes, still played some man defense, and did the things all the way through. And now they did that without Cam Hayward and TJ Watt and some of those guys they protected and said, let's go ahead and get them out of the game early unless we think we really need them. And they didn't.
No.
Because the other guys came in, and how fun for those other guys to come in, just not come in and play vanilla.
Yeah.
Play that, give up a lot of yards and try to chew up some time. How fun for those guys to come in and know that the Browns are going to be passing the ball, pin their ears back, and get after it.
That makes so much sense. That is such a good point. That you can do two options. You can either go back and kind of play it safe and everything with how you were doing, or you could say, you know what, let's get our guys out of the game, but let's still keep doing what we need to do in order to try to.
And put these other guys in and see what they do in real game situation kind of stuff. And
I mean, you can't take everybody out. You don't, and they didn't. I mean, Patrick Queen still played every snap.
Correct.
And everything. I thought. I mean,
but
I forgot to compare Holcomb and Wilson this week, but I figured, with the big running attack, I know Holcomb was out there a good bit.
I saw a good bit of Holcomb, and he was playing well.
Yeah, I can hold on. I'll have their snaps here in about 5 seconds.
I saw there at the end of the game. I saw plenty of James Pierre on the field.
Which he played 14 snaps. Yep.
At one point in time, he was a starter. Now he's pretty much a special teamer. But if he's out there for 14 snaps, that I just thought that it was really nice to see, especially on the defensive side of the ball.
Mm-hmm.
Let's just continue to play our game.
Yeah.
On the offensive side of the ball, did they get a little more conservative? Yes, but they were still trying to do what they could to pick up first downs.
And look, they were going with Caleb Johnson in the fourth quarter more than anybody.
I noticed that. But
Jaylen Warren did not get a touch in the fourth quarter.
Yeah, and it was, I don't know. It was just for me, once they scored that touchdown on the first play of the fourth quarter, I was like, okay,
we're done.
Yep. I said we're done. And then I think I said, unless we decide to, let them go down in 5 plays and score a touchdown, and they're right back in it. But once but then was happy to see the defense come out and playing real defense.
Yes. Oh, real quick. Peyton Wilson played 54 snaps. Cole Holcomb played 28. I bet you they planned on that to not be the same. But my goodness, when the 58 times they dropped back to pass because they threw it 52 and were sacked 6. Whew. I mean, that is not how you put a rookie quarterback in his second start in a good situation. But
All right, so I got something fun to ask you then.
okay.
That could be really, because you said about the 52 passes, well technically 58 because drop back 6 times.
Yeah.
Do you follow? No, you probably don't. So the girl that does the short NFL clips, Annie Agar.
Honestly, I'll be 100%
gosh,
honest.
she
Seen
is
her
so-
stuff a bunch before. Haven't really come across it this year. It hasn't showed up in any of my stuff.
She is so well. See, I follow her.
Okay.
She is so flippin' hilarious. Ready? So she's on there today. She's saying, you have a first round. Stefanski. What do you do on first down when you have? And she then cuts it off. Says pass, but and he kept saying pass. And it was like she started to talk about that. You have this guy. Why aren't you running him? But instead you throw it 52 times in the game. He says, well, 58 actually because he got sacked twice, got sacked 6 times.
Yeah.
It's like, yeah.
Yeah.
We forced our will on the Browns is basically what that comes down to.
Yeah. Oh, and here's the thing. Judkins had through 3 quarters had 22 yards.
Yeah.
He had 14 yards in the fourth quarter because Jeff Hartman brought this up. He brought up the post-game show. He brought up on Let's Ride that, the rushing stats were the run defense stats were even better. But the Browns decided once it was so obvious that they were passing a bunch to try to get some runs in there because they were a little bit more open for them.
Yeah.
They had 39 rushing yards through 3 quarters, and then they had 26 in the fourth quarter in a non-close game where it's like, you want to run it for 5 or 6 yards at a time and let the clock keep going? Go. It's fine. That is really okay. We're going to make sure that we don't give up 15 to 20 yard chunks at that point, because it was even at that point, it was even later. That wasn't like the beginning of the fourth quarter. If I'm going by memory now, it felt more like it was towards the end of the fourth quarter when they were running the ball more. But lots of just some.
I want to transition this a little bit to something else during the game. Okay, and I'm going to do it with another thing off of Annie Agar's video she put out today.
Yeah.
So then it was like she comes in and she wears her NFL shirt to act like the league. And she comes out and says, okay, let's talk about firings. And then she's there with a headset and a Dolphin shirt on. And she's like, okay, guys, bye. See you. She's like, no, Mike, not you. Let's talk about James Franklin. So you're thinking, what? She's like, James Franklin. Penn State is paying James Franklin $50 million not to show up. Kind of like the Browns and Myles Garrett.
You know what? That's a pretty good one. Sorry, I was doing something here because I'm going to bring something up.
Okay.
Because it said I was trying to maybe do some math to see if it would help. Once again, it might have even. Okay. All right. I don't even know who said it. Oh, it's AFL again. There you go. I'll do that one. Did anyone see the one snap TJ Alex and Herbert Hall on the field? It was more than one snap. I'm pretty sure it was more than one snap.
I recall.
My goodness, Herbert came up the middle. He got a sack on one of those. Yeah. Mm-hmm. So, and it wasn't necessarily always Herbig, Highsmith. It could have been Sawyer in there. I honestly, I love them getting the 3 of them on the field together. And I'm going to say this because I've seen some other stuff in the live chat. This goes for offense. This goes for defense. If you like what the Steelers are doing right now, stop trying to trade away their players. I understand some people would really like to have another wide receiver. That would be nice, okay? But you know what? You're going to have at least 11 most likely, but the higher probability of 12 picks in next year's draft. If you got to give up something for next year because of a wide receiver now, I'm fine with that. And if you end up not doing it, I get that as well. Mm-hmm. But when you see Herbig and Watt and Highsmith, and how you can have Highsmith out there in the running situations where he's been really good. He was really good against that again on Sunday. And Herbig, putting him in situations where he's not out there for everything, but you put him out there in the most advantageous situations for him. Why would you want to say, let's trade away somebody?
Yeah, no reason to. I wouldn't.
So what if Pat Freiermuth only had one target with one catch for 11 yards and no targets the week before? You know what? There's going to be other games when that's not the case.
Correct. Dave, let me ask
You have Coach Sean talked about the diverse tight end room. Okay? But when you have that many good players at a position, that doesn't mean that, we're not utilizing him as much as we should or what we're paying him or blah, 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 blah. Let's trade him. You know what? What happens? I'm not going to say this. It's not living in your fears. I'm like, why not utilize everybody that you can? But also, if you want to say this, when the Steelers traded away Josh Dobbs in 2019, what happened the very next game? Freaking Ben Roethlisberger's down for the season.
Yep.
Okay? So my thing is why not actually just keep rolling? I mean, look at that secondary. They have 3 corners. And you're like, well, how are you going to work in all 3 corners? You know what? That was pretty freaking nice watching the secondary do what they could do in that game because of the people they had. You don't need to trade away anybody else. Because not only this, even when the Steelers have another wide receiver out there, one target to a wide receiver not called DK Metcalf. And that was against the number 2 defense in the NFL going into the week. And they scored 23 points, should have been 26, should have even been more than that. I mean, they could have kept having the pressure on. I mean, the Steelers, I think, could have scored 30 points in that game if it was all about scoring points, if they would have needed to, against the number 2 defense in the NFL going into the week. So my point is you could say, well, the defense was doing great things against the struggling Browns offense. I get that. But you can't say that the offense wasn't going up against a high-quality defense. They didn't even need another wide receiver, and it's not that I'm like that's going to work all the time. I would love for them to have another wide receiver. But I don't want them to trade away a Pat Freiermuth or an Alex Highsmith or something of that nature to bring in another wide receiver that they treat like Mike Williams from last year.
Yeah.
To me, that's not worth it. I'd rather just roll with what they got. So I'm not opposed to bringing in somebody. But really, if they're going to, I don't want to give up anybody. I really don't.
Okay, let's think of I'm going to take a different twist of this. Something else I wanted to talk about, but I can tie it to this. Okay. So, Dave.
Yeah.
How tall is DK Metcalf?
Oh, he's pretty tall. He's 6'4"? I'm guessing.
It's 3 or 4.
Okay. I'll look it up here while you're talking.
How Dave? How tall? I'll ask you these one. How tall is Mount Washington?
He's like 6'7", isn't he?
He's 6'7". Okay. How tall is Johnny Smith?
Okay. You know what? It's a good thing that I'm looking at some of this.
Yep.
Let's see. Let me see if I'm finding these guys. DK Metcalf is 6'4". Jonnu Smith is 6'3".
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, Mount Washington is 6'7". Yep.
How tall's Pat?
Freiermuth, I got to keep scrolling down. I don't think he's as tall. Where'd he go? You know what? I'm looking at him by height. I should look at him by position.
Yeah.
There we go. Pat Freiermuth. I went past it. That was the problem. He's 6'5".
Yeah. Okay. Now,
Connor Hayward's the little guy at 6 foot even.
correct. Now, let's think about this for a second. You have DK Metcalf at 6'3", or 6'4". Johnny Smith at 6'3", Pat Freiermuth at 6'5", and Mount Washington at 6'7". And your name is Aaron Rodgers.
Yeah.
Where are you throwing the football? I'm throwing it to those big, tall targets all the time.
Yeah. Why do you think he hit Ben Skoranek for the opening touchdown of the season? He's 6'3". You know what I'm saying?
Yeah,
Yeah.
it's so basically what's happening in my opinion from watching these games are when you get especially those tall guys out there on the field,
Yeah.
they're having to try to pick and choose who they take away and who they leave with one-on-one coverage, and Rodgers just knows how to get the ball to those big guys in one-on-one coverage.
Well, not only that, if you're going to make a throw and a catch like that one to DK Metcalf on the sideline where the guy was not the touchdown one, where he was right there and all over him and he still made that catch. Yes. That was like, you can't defend that. I saw that. I'm like, you can't. I mean, wow. I thought that one was pretty wow.
Yeah. So, you can say what you want, but I about needing another wide receiver. But I think the biggest thing right now is Aaron Rodgers is happy with who he has to throw the ball to.
Yeah.
Tight ends, running backs, DK Metcalf, sprinkle in the other receivers a little bit here and there, and he's fine.
Yeah, that's why I say I'm fine if they added someone else and worked him into it. I'd be fine with that, especially if it's notice they don't have a ton of depth at wide receiver, so I'd be okay there. But I'm not going to do that by taking away from somebody else.
Yeah.
So, yeah, we're kind of jumped back and forth from offense to defense with all kinds of good stuff.
We covered a good bit of defense, and that's why I was trying to shift this over, cover a little offense.
And it's not like the offense was unstoppable, but also think about it. They were going up against a really good defense. And we can go into the whole, you brought up the joke about Myles Garrett. We can go into that. Now, I don't know if you saw it. I looked at it because I always try to find it where they compile all of Broderick Jones's pass protection reps.
Yes, I watched that
all together. I do too.
In the Slack channel, I looked at it.
And I'll be honest with you, there were some technique-wise, there were some rough reps. He had more of a problem when a player ducked to the inside.
Yes,
I noticed that. He was, let's just say it, he was selling out to not let himself get beat over his left shoulder.
Correct.
So,
and even on some of those where it looked like Garrett was getting out around him, there were a couple where Broderick only got one hand on him as Garrett's coming around the edge. But I also looked, daggone, Garrett, some of his plays was lined up so freaking wide.
Yeah.
Okay. But all he was having to do, because of how wide he was coming, just put a hand on him, push him. And Garrett was going right past, a yard and a half, 2 yards behind the quarterback.
Yeah.
So, was Broderick Jones great this week? No. Was Broderick Jones good this week? Yes.
Good enough.
There were now, some people will say, yeah, but there were a lot of snaps because the Steelers played a lot of jumbo, and they played jumbo with plus add in Mount Washington, and so they were going big, and there were a lot of times you had two guys hit Garrett, to which I say, what did they freaking do? How many times were the two guys hitting TJ Watt? Constantly. They were putting two. One play I saw where they hit him with three guys.
Yeah. Yep. It was tight end, running back tried to slow him down before he got to the tackle. Yep.
And but to me, TJ Watt was still having an impact on that game, and Myles Garrett was invisible.
Yeah, and I haven't had a chance to go back and watch the game. I'm probably not going to because short weeks are awful trying to get everything in.
I know.
But it's very interesting. I brought up something. Usually it runs on. Did it run yesterday or did it run today? I can't remember. I have so many articles that have gone. I don't know what my PFF article was. It did go this morning.
It had to go some point today because I
caught today.
All the ones yesterday.
Which is usually when it goes. And I do it just and it's funny because they got an F- on my grade of PFF. Because of course, Myles Garrett got a pretty high grade. And listen to this. These are the pass blocking grades, the bottom pass blocking grades for the Steelers. Spencer Anderson, 8.4. He did have a couple rough reps in there that I did saw. Broderick Jones, 16.7. Jonnu Smith, 28.9. Darnell Washington 49.5. Bottom line is anybody other than Jaylen Warren, who had a great pass blocking grade, who helped out, other than Warren, anybody who you would have thought might have been around to help with Myles Garrett, all of them had a terrible grade. Do you want to know why? Because they have to give Myles Garrett wins in order to keep his grade high.
Yeah. I mean,
But you also want to know what else they did? They caught so much. And I've seen this before. And my reason is they caught so much flack, not that they corrected it. Myles Garrett was the highest graded defender on Cleveland last night when I did the article.
And they went back and changed.
They changed it.
Nice.
They dropped him a little bit. They dropped his pass rushing grade and his overall grade. They brought him out of the 80s down into the 70s.
That's because I know they were catching flack for saying, how can you give it to a guy that
had one pressure and two assisted
one
tackles.
pressure and two gang tackles. Two gang tackles and one pressure.
And yeah, now, can I say that part of that wasn't, it's not that Broderick Jones, no, he wasn't always on Broderick Jones. Here's what's crazy. Broderick Jones gave up a quarterback hit. It obviously wasn't to Myles Garrett because Myles Garrett didn't have one.
It was number 96, if I recall correctly, whoever that
So
is.
in other words, every time that Myles Garrett went against, Myles Garrett got zero pressures going against Broderick Jones. Or if he got that hurry, it was where it wasn't credited to Jones because it might have been on a roll or something like that. So it's I don't want to spend forever talking about PFF grades, but it is talking about the narrative was part of my point. Broderick Jones I don't think that he individually stopped Myles Garrett.
Yes, he did.
I mean, individually, meaning that it's not that it happened without help.
No, there were a couple one-on-ones where he.
Oh yeah, okay.
Hit him stone cold.
You and I are looking at it from different angles.
Oh, okay.
I was looking at it from the angle of it's not that he stopped Myles Garrett on every play all game. That's what I was kind of thinking.
Gotcha.
Obviously, he stopped Myles Garrett on plenty of plays. He did.
Yeah.
And there was times he had help. And there was also times where the Steelers schemed Myles Garrett out of the play. Other teams do it to TJ Watt. The Steelers did it to Myles Garrett. So it's one of two things, and most likely it's both. Either Broderick Jones did a nice job, or the Steelers coaches schemed it up very well to take Myles Garrett out of the game. It's one of those two.
Well,
you've got to give credit to at least one of those two, if not both of them.
Yeah. I think really what ends up happening is you got a combination of the two because you saw plenty of help on Garrett. Here's what I was noticing. Garrett's chance to beat Broderick Jones was having to come with speed around the end.
Yeah.
Okay. When he would try to power up and come right at Broderick Jones
dug in. Yeah.
Not, pretty much stone cold.
Yeah.
Now the 96 guy, the one time he got the pressure, he basically barreled over Broderick Jones. Mm-hmm. Came right
96. That's Malik Collins for anyone that's curious. Yeah.
But Myles Garrett could not just, power up and come through Broderick.
Yeah.
So,
but I'll also say this, like K Mike says, Broderick definitely lost some reps. Oh yeah, he did. Yeah.
But most of the time though, Garrett was still not having an impact on the play because the Steelers had schemed it correctly.
And I'm also going to say this: people are like, oh well, he was throwing it so fast, no one could ever get there. He was throwing it so fast, no one could ever get there. I think this was I'm pretty sure it was Nick Faribault that put it out. I wish I had it in front of me to read it. Maybe someone else can confirm with me. This was the longest time to throw this season for Aaron Rodgers. He was not throwing it faster than any other game.
Yeah.
So.
Yeah.
And it's funny.
Now, I also noticed too, like I really got to look, especially at that stuff with Broderick Jones. I was trying to look at some of the. Actually, I was watching the one I think was the whole line where it was was that, and I really noticed that they really took a lot of different approaches. It wasn't the same. it wasn't the same like 2 or 3 type blocking schemes in pass protection. They had
Mhm.
some really good different ones there. There were times where Broderick Jones pushed Miles Garrett down to the inside, and then Sayamalo took him.
Yeah.
He
And
passed him off to Sayamalo.
but that's what you're supposed to do in
I
the
know.
offensive line when you're blocking. That's what even when I was coaching ninth graders, that's the kind of things I was trying to coach. Okay, that's what you're not usually as an offensive lineman. You are not protecting both sides. Your responsibility is either you don't let anybody go on your left side or you don't let anybody go on your right side, because you can't do both, because they can send people both ways. If you're a left tackle, and that's why I mean constantly we were, especially at the level I was coaching, we were constantly using the running back to specifically block at a certain spot. Sometimes everybody blocks out and the running back fills in if there's any leak one way or the other from the center. Bottom line is the center picks which way they wanted to go based on the first threat, and the running back would fill if anyone was coming through somewhere else. So, and that's sometimes where you get in trouble, because when they try to send more than one guy through a gap, but there's not a lot of room to send more than one guy through a gap and things of that nature. A lot of times when we would run quick passes, when I was coaching, my entire line would block one way, and the running back would actually be looking the other way for that end person on the line that hopefully wasn't even coming into play when we were running those kind of things. So you have a responsibility. So sometimes it when you say you pass him off, it's because ultimately, if Miles Garrett's going that hard to the inside, you're expecting a stunt that somebody else is going to show up to your outside.
Right.
And Coach Tomlin talked about this in the press conference Monday about the offensive line, the cohesion, how does it help with everything? And he's like, you've got to trust the collective. You have to trust. When you're taking the guy as a left tackle, the guy on your outside, you've got to trust that when someone's getting ready to fly up on your inside, that the person who's responsible for him is going to do it. Because if you don't, and you want to hesitate back and maybe want to chip that guy a little bit when you're not supposed to, guess what the outside guy does? He's got you beat already.
Yeah. And
So, yeah.
really, it is the line is starting to look more like an entire unit on the offensive side of the football.
Yeah.
All the blocking, they're starting to gain that trust in each other. They're doing those things. They were picking up the stunts pretty well, and that's been good to see. I mean, that's what, 2 games in a row now. We've not given up a sack, right?
Yeah.
So that's good. Hey,
I think it might be 3.
Oh, really? Okay. We have a super chat.
Oh, we do. All right. Thanks
Yes, we do.
for eyeing those up for me.
Let me see. Actually, what does it come up on your screen there at all, or do I have to do it from here?
You just have to read it.
Okay,
Yeah.
just have to read it. This is from Steel Dog 88.
All right.
Steel Dog 88 puts $5 in the tip jar. Thank you,
Steel
we
Dog.
appreciate that. It was smart of Tomlin to pull Highsmith and Watt in the 4th, and to have Herbig and Sawyer take over with the short week coming.
Yeah.
So nice to have depth.
Exactly. And to trust those guys. To have guys that you can trust to be out there. Yeah.
Yeah, I know. I really do appreciate it. I appreciate that depth, and that what we have done is of late, especially on the defense, is we've really started creating quality depth.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Hey, I want to bring this up before I lose it, because it's a good one. Young and wood burning. I said that right? Yeah.
You did.
Says, we will be in Pittsburgh next weekend against the Packers with our 10-year-old niece for her first Steeler game. I love hearing about people doing their first Steeler game. Yeah, so that's why I thought I'd bring that up. A lot of people are giving some props to Patrick Queen and the speed he was playing with and what he was doing. Lots of stuff with defense. But before we take a break here, I know we've gone over a little bit in the first half because we're actually trying to transition to the next game for the second half. And that is this. What do you think of some of the play call and play designs?
On the offensive side?
Yeah, on the offense.
Oh, I thought we had some really good ones. first of all, love the play on the first play of the game because you send out your jumbo, and everybody's so used to Pittsburgh's going to send out jumbo and hand it off that first play, and we didn't.
Mm-hmm.
So now teams are going to have to be ready, and they can't sell out to the run, which means now who knows what the Steelers are going to do if they open up with that set next time.
That first play changed everything. It changed everything with that. Yeah. I'll be honest with you, my favorite offensive play was an incompletion. Okay. They didn't come through, and it was a little bit too high for I'm pretty sure it was Washington. If not, it was DK. It was one of those. It was the whole fake handoff, fake pitch, bootleg, and it was an incompletion.
Yeah,
it was
a
whole bunch of misdirection.
I believe on that. Yeah, I liked that as well. It was just like whoa. It's like, wow, we haven't seen anything like that in a while.
Here's what's crazy. I do remember one time this was in the open thread on SteelCurtainNetwork.com, which is ironic because you said almost the exact same thing in the knee-jerk reaction article. It was like, oh, great, it's 2nd and 10. They come to the line of scrimmage. Everybody knows it's a run. They run it. Nothing. They just completely stuffed it out. It comes into another one later on. 2nd and 10. Oh, looks like everyone knows it's a run. Well, I guess the Browns didn't because they ran it, and Jaylen Warren got like 9 or 10 yards. Yeah. Mm-hmm. And then it wasn't a thing anymore. See, I don't mind. What drives me nuts? Seriously. People are like, oh, doesn't it drive you crazy that every time it's 2nd and 10 they run? Well, it's not every time, but it is a high percentage. What used to drive me nuts were they thinking we talked about it on the show years ago. It used to be if the Steelers threw the ball on first down and it was incomplete, you knew they were going to pass on second, and then if they didn't get the first down, pass again on third. It was like, unless they got like 3rd and inches or something like that. That it used to be that once you committed to passing it on first down, if you didn't succeed, you were committed to the pass for the rest of that set. And it would drive me nuts. I'm like, because sometimes you can catch the other team off guard on 2nd down. And then Arthur Smith comes in, and you don't catch him off guard if you do it almost every time. But like I said, that was a quality defense they were going up against. And there was very little that bothered me from the offense. Yeah. I wish they would have finished off drives in the first half, but they were still, making some nice, getting some chunk plays and sustaining things.
Yeah, and it didn't bother me quite as much at the first half because I knew what they were up to. They were like, if they could keep holding Cleveland, putting field goals on the board, it was like, okay, they got 3 and then they got 6. And when they got to 9, so that it was 2 scores, mm-hmm. I was comfortable.
Yeah.
I was good. I was like, when they got that and they started that drive, I was like, we just get it in field goal range, get another field goal, go up 2 scores. We should be good. Yeah.
So, all right. Well, we've got to turn the page. Anything else you want to say here? I mean, I don't want to get into the turf and everything like that. It was bad. We knew it was bad. We could see it was bad. It got really bad as the game went on more than anything. And we know it's getting replaced. And I don't know that I've ever seen the turf.
I've already seen the videos. They had it ripped up yesterday. They were laying down today.
Yep. So we're not going to get into all that. Anything else you want to say about this past week's game before we take a break here?
Just was another good Steeler W. Let's take a break and talk about Thursday.
Yes, so we've got to focus more on the upcoming week because it's upon us. It's just how it is. So if you're with us here live, we're not going anywhere. If you're with us here on the audio, we'll be right back after these messages.
Relax, don't worry, no rush, what's the hurry? Relax, don't worry, don't worry, relax. Relax, don't worry, no rush, what's the hurry? Relax, don't worry, don't worry, relax.
Hey, Big Bro, you ready to relax and not worry?
Yeah.
I'm not. I'm not. This was a game that I penciled in as a big-time loss coming up this week as soon as the schedule came out. It's funny because you're like, yeah, didn't you do the same thing in week 4? I actually didn't do the same thing in week 4 this year because I had the Steelers losing in week 3 and then bouncing back to actually win in Ireland because I wanted them to win in Ireland. When they won in week 3, that's when I changed my mind. And then I was wrong about that one. So I was so glad that they're off the schneid with that one. But this is another one that they got to get off. This is not a Steelers problem. This is an AFC North thing. We're going to talk about Thursday coming up. And specifically, we'll get into the Bengals here. Sorry, we'll get into the Bungles here a little bit and Count Flacula and all that good stuff. But before we do, I got to pull out my handy-dandy notebook where I wrote down a bunch of stuff. And you might have heard some of the numbers behind Thursday Night Football. And I've said plenty of times with Thursday Night Football, if you're doing a Survivor League, don't pick the visiting team on Thursday Night Football. If you think the visiting team's going to win, don't pick that game. If you think if it's one of those easy ones for the home team, maybe you can do that. But I mean, look, last week the Giants at home took it to the Eagles.
Yeah.
But I was looking at this, and this includes everything, even in 2025. Which you'll see when I get to some of these numbers later. I was looking at the home versus away. And here are the numbers for the home versus away in the AFC North going back to 2002. Now, I can't even remember if Thursday Night Football goes back to 2002. I just said my filter is 2002. Why would I do 2002? Do you know why?
Because that was a cool year.
That's the year where they broke out into 4 divisions from 3 to 4, to where we had the
gotcha.
north, south, east, west. That's why I did that. So it's easy to remember because in 2001, that's when everybody, there was a bye every week of the season because they had an odd number of teams. 2002 is when the Texans came in, all that changed. Listen to these records. Now, this is Thursday Night Football. It doesn't matter when I talk about the AFC North with this. So I'm not looking at like Thanksgiving afternoon or late afternoon games. This is just, it includes Thanksgiving, but it's only Thursday night games. This is what I did. Just because those afternoon games, those are kind of stacked in the favor of Detroit and Dallas with them always being the host teams. So at home on Thursday nights, the Baltimore Ravens are 9-0. The Cleveland Browns are 9-1, winning 9 in a row. They lost the first one. They've won 9 in a row since. When they're at home on Thursday nights. The Pittsburgh Steelers are 9-2 at home on Thursday nights. And the Cincinnati Bengals are 6-2. That is overall 33-5 at home in the AFC North on Thursday Night Football since 2002. That's an 87% winning percentage. I looked at the other divisions. Do you know what the next closest one is?
What's that?
It's the NFC East at 70%. And part of the reason is their number's a little bit lower because Dallas rarely plays at home on Thursday night because they play at home on Thursday afternoons on Thanksgiving. Okay, 70%. Then the next closest after that is the AFC West at 68%. There is a division. The AFC South is 500 at home on Thursday nights. There are two divisions. The NFC West and the NFC South that have losing records at home on Thursday nights. But yet the AFC North, those teams win like crazy at home.
Yeah.
And then I looked at the road records of each division. Now, these are going to be a little bit similar because they do play a lot of divisional games anymore on Thursday nights. That wasn't always the case, but it seems like they've been doing that a little bit more. The Baltimore Ravens are 2-6 on the road on Thursday nights after being 9-0 at home. The Cleveland Browns are 1-5 on the road. The Cincinnati Bengals are 1-6. And the Pittsburgh Steelers are 2-9. So the Steelers have had by far the most road games of any AFC North team on Thursday nights. So therefore, their winning percentage there, I mean, they're 6-26. The AFC North is great at home and terrible on the road when it comes to Thursday Night Football. Now you're like, oh, that's because it's all division games. If the home teams are winning constantly, then it is. But not so much, because if you look at it, of those 38 home games, 19 of them have been division games. 19.
Yeah.
So yeah, so it's not all of them, but it is actually exactly half when you look at it, 19 and 38. So this isn't going to be an easy task for the Pittsburgh Steelers. It just, for some reason with the AFC North on a short week, they crush it when they don't have to travel. They aren't good on Thursdays when they have to travel, when they come in there. I will tell you, these numbers also included week 1, so those aren't definitely coming off of short weeks. I should have done a filter maybe more advanced to pull those games out of there, but I can't help it. I didn't do it at the time, and I was partway through it. I'm like, I can't go back and start over. So the Steelers are favored on the road, but that's why I had the title of the show that I did, which I'm trying to actually figure out, trying to remember what it was. Are the Steelers built for Thursday Night Football? Because the AFC North doesn't seem to be good for the road teams. Is this Steelers team one that you think can overcome that?
They were put together to potentially do that.
Okay.
Now it's just a matter of will they.
Yeah, because honestly, remember, I've said the worst case scenario for the Pittsburgh Steelers is playing somebody on a short week after playing the Baltimore Ravens. I wish I wish I had brought it up. I have a spreadsheet buried somewhere in my 600 spreadsheets that I have. And it wasn't updated last year because it was going into last year, looking at all the numbers of where they did stuff. The Steelers actually aren't so bad coming off of playing the Browns and being on a short week. That's not so bad. But playing the Ravens and going on a short week, not good. To me, the biggest thing about playing on a short week are two things. Readiness, which is both physically and mentally. Well, you know what? It's one thing. It's readiness then, when I think about it. Because if it's, are you dealing with injury? Had your body recovered? All those kind of things. And are you comfortable enough with your game plan and everything else readiness-wise in order to play your opponent? So I said it was going to be two things. Really, it's when I think about it, it's the same thing when I say readiness. So with the Steelers bringing in so many veteran players, you gain in one kind of readiness, but you lose in another. Because I'm sorry, as Cam Hayward, you pointed this out. What's Cam Hayward calling this game, Rich?
The Icy Hot Bowl.
The Icy Hot Bowl, because of Joe Flacco and Aaron Rodgers both being 40-plus-year-old quarterbacks starting against each other, which is crazy. But the Steelers, you got to say, are their older players ready to play physically? Because if they are, they should have the advantage mentally. Yeah. And I think having the game that the Steelers just had this Sunday sets them up probably for about as best as possible as you could get having a road Thursday game going into it. Because there were some guys that were dinged up in the game some, but you're trying to give them rest. But you were able to rest some of your other guys. What are you thinking?
Well, there's a couple reasons why I'm thinking the Steelers are built a little better for this game. And they're actually built better for this game, I think, what this game's going to be now than what this game would have been 4 weeks ago. Okay? Mm-hmm. When the Steelers have been beaten up bad by Joe Flacco, which they have a couple times, mm-hmm. What has been the deal with the Steelers defense at that point? A lot of zones. Joe Flacco is good at attacking zones.
Yeah.
As a lot of veteran quarterbacks get to be. This Steelers secondary is built to play more man-to-man coverage than any Steelers secondary I can think of for quite a long time.
Yeah.
So the question comes down: if Joey Porter Jr., Darius Slay, and Jalen Ramsey are all healthy, good to go, and can play, that means the Steelers are going to be able to play more man than they maybe would otherwise. And if they do that, that I think gives them an advantage on Joe Flacco. The other thing is Joe Flacco not mobile, not mobile.
Yeah.
So, get after it. The biggest thing then will be, can the Steelers stop the run? If the Steelers can get into the similar strategy that they had last week, get out, get a lead, make the Bengals one-dimensional.
Yeah.
That's how the Steelers that's what they need to do to be able to win this game.
Well, I'll be honest with you. I think the Bengals are one-dimensional anyway. The one dimension you're going to make them is probably their strength. My honestly, my biggest fear is the Steelers. You can't let up in this game, and I think Mike Tomlin knows it because with those eligibles, as Mike Tomlin likes to say it, you know that they can get back in it quick. So you can't take it for granted until you're talking about a multi-score lead with 5 minutes remaining.
Yeah,
with time left in the game, that when you go out of bounds, it actually stops the clock and doesn't restart. That's with 5 minutes left.
If you go into halftime, if the Steelers were to go into halftime up 21-7, that lead is not safe.
No.
You better come out fired up and put it to them at the beginning of the second half.
Yeah.
So, what I'm going to really be interested to see in this game is again, both sides of the ball. What's our scheme? What's our philosophy? What are we looking to try to do? Did we choose correctly? Because the Steelers are able to do different things. They're able to go at some of these games with a little bit different philosophies. Do they pick the correct ones?
Yeah.
And if they don't, do they recognize that quickly, and do they have a way to get out of it?
Because I'm still a little bit scared because last year when the Steelers lit up the Bengals and put up 40 plus points on them in the first matchup.
Yeah.
And threw the ball like crazy. And I don't know if it's just because they lost their trust in Russ. But that last game of the season, they came out and said, we're going to win this one by running the ball. And their offense was awful. They got back into it because they started throwing in the fourth quarter. So I still have a little bit of trust issue there. But I just feel like this team is different. And I think that the coaches trust these players more than they did last year when things got bad. So...
Can I say something that I just have this feel about when it comes to the coaching staff?
Okay.
I feel like last year Arthur Smith was there and he was just trying to get along and do his thing. I don't know if it's because this is his second year or if it's because Aaron Rodgers is now his quarterback. He has a much more, he seems much more confident in the play calling and with the players that he has to execute. And to me, that's what feels different on that side of the ball. The defensive side of the ball, I just think we have talent and we have depth.
Yeah. Yeah. Well, here, I want to bring this up. Big Pun wants to know, is Hendrickson playing Thursday? Let's see, the Bengals had an estimated injury report yesterday, didn't practice. Estimated one again today because I don't think they practiced until after they had to have an injury report because they were waiting until like the evening to practice. They have a bit of an advantage by not having to travel. Wouldn't it be nice if NFL teams could have, when they're on a short week, could have that extra day at home and travel during the day, the game of the day of the game? They're not allowed to do it. NFL won't let them do it. The teams must be in the city that they're playing in the day before the game. So that's one thing. Back to some of the stuff where I think is this Steelers team built for Thursday Night Football? as long as they're not banged up, I like the fact that I feel right now the Steelers have the more, overall talented team, especially when you want to compare the defenses. That's easy. I feel like they have the more talented team. They now have the team that's now played together and have been meshing well, especially lately. Joe Flacco's getting what, like two practices maybe, if that, from after last game. Yes, I expect him to be better, but still, that's not an awful lot of time. So I'm hoping maybe that there are some advantages there for the Steelers. I will also say this: Aaron Rodgers as a starter on Thursday football. Not all these are night. I will tell you that. I just did Thursday games in general. He is 13-5. 13-5 playing on Thursdays.
Okay.
Also, he won both Thursday games last year with the Jets. The Jets only won 5 games all season, and 2 of them were on Thursday night.
That's crazy.
Yeah. So to me, I'm like, maybe that's a pretty big advantage that Aaron Rodgers feels like when you've got that guy that's your quarterback. Now, Joe Flacco, he's been there too. So honestly, that's what it's crazy. This icy hot bowl. These are the 2 types of quarterbacks that you think that could maybe do something. I really wish the Steelers weren't playing Flacco. I really wish it was Browning. I would love to see. I don't like to see people get injured, but it would be really nice to see Jake Browning have to come into this game. That wouldn't be bad. But the other thing with Rodgers is when I look at even on the road on Thursdays, let's see, he won in 2021 on the road in Arizona. He won in 2020 on the road in San Francisco, but that was 2020. Everything was screwy. He won in Chicago in 2019 on the road. That was week 1, so that one's not quite the same. Did have a loss, a 3-point loss in Seattle in 2018 on the road. One in Detroit, but that was a Thanksgiving Day game. Lost, but he has 2 losses on the road on Thursday nights. Both of them were to Seattle. So just saying that. So maybe Aaron Rodgers is an advantage. I know we're running over, but what I'm going to say about this game is my tendency would have been, no, don't pick the Steelers. Even if the Bengals are struggling, don't pick the Steelers on the road. Don't pick against an AFC North team at home on a Thursday. You don't do that. That's just not smart. And chances are I'm not putting any wager on this game at all because of that. But I'm saying it now, Steelers fans, as a bit of a safety net. If the Steelers take a step back this week, even if they somehow find a way to win the game, but they're not the same team that you saw the last 2 weeks, don't read too much into it. I'm saying it now and then what do? I'll get upset in the postgame show that they didn't play as well because that's how it is at the moment. Like I did against the Patriots when I said you can't expect them to fix everything in 1 week, and when they didn't have it all fixed, I was mad. But this isn't a game that I expect the Steelers to be the team that they were this past week. It's too hard of an ask on Thursday. But man, if they are, that's really something to get excited about. Is that fair to say?
That's fair to say.
Yeah. So that's fun. Oh, that's funny. I don't know what this is in reference to, but I'm bringing it up because it was Kevin Brokenbarrow that said he'd rather call Watt on a neutral zone. I wanted to go back and see that if he really was lined up, and I never got the chance to go back and do it because I haven't got a chance to rewatch the game. So hopefully the Steelers can clean up the penalties. Hopefully they can maybe. I don't know if they'll get it. Joe, I don't think the Bengals. I don't think had any turnovers against Green Bay. So I think that'll be interesting. So are the Steelers built to win on Thursday Night Football? The only way we're going to figure that out is to tune in 2 nights from now.
That's right. So,
all right. So now it is time for the big question. Are you ready for it, Rich?
I am.
Okay, and that is, of course, when we're here going during the regular season. It's going to be score predictions. Now, don't put yours in the live chat yet because you got to wait for me to ask for it, and then it's going to I'm going to bring it up, and then go everyone's picks as long as you wait for it. So don't put your scores out there yet. If you don't put a team, we're assuming you mean Steelers. Rich, what do you think?
I think the
this
Steelers are actually going to try to make this game look a lot like the last two, and especially the one against Cleveland. I think they're going to try to be, what do I want to say, methodical, control the football as much as they can on offense, and defense. Really try to just shut them down.
Go get Joe Flacco.
Go get him.
Go get him.
But if you have to give up points, give up field goals.
Yep.
They're going to try to jump out, get a lead, and then, to the point where then they can then just say, okay, well, let's try to increase that lead, and let's try to increase it some more.
This is a top game. This is a TOP, time of possession game. You want to have in this one.
So I expect the score to be, the Steelers could score some points against Cincinnati. Their defense is not great. Okay. I look at this game to look a lot like the game did against Cleveland last week. I'm going Steelers 26, Bengals 16.
Okay, 26-16. What was, and I just put it out to the people who put their scores. Do you remember what your score was? What was your score last week?
I don't know.
I mean, from where you put it in the article and everything?
I don't remember.
Okay, I was close last week.
Okay.
I said 23-13. It was 23-9. If the Steelers give up one touchdown in place of that field goal, it's spot on.
See, now you're going to make me have to go look up what I had here.
You don't have to, but I'm going to go ahead and start bringing these up here. We've got, starting right off, we've got Matt Cat at 27-13. That would be Steelers. Thank you, Thomas Riley. You got to keep coming through for us. Steelers 17, Bengals 17. Afton's got 31-24 Steelers. And then every time I click one of these, it jumps on me. Then we've got Bree Ford. Yeah, Bree. We'll just say Bree. Okay. 30-13 Steelers. Steel Dog 88, 27-13 Steelers. Then we've got BF Bud, 31-17 Steelers. I like that one. Piggins, you big dummy. And it skipped on me right before I could click on it. He has 31-9 Steelers. Oh, 31-9. That'd be a nice one. That really would. Honestly, I don't see Cincinnati bothering to kick 3 field goals. I would see him go for it. Honestly, I don't just knowing him that I could completely see that. Matthew Bunk has 34-12 Steelers. And it's still skipping on me every time I try to click on one.
Well, while you're back looking, I had 19-17 last week.
Okay, you had 19-17. Okay. My goodness, where'd it go? So what was the last one I had? Was it? Oh man, I didn't click on it on time. Was Big Pun the last one, or was that the one I was about ready to bring up?
I don't know. Bring Big Pun up. Do it twice if you have to.
Now I got to try to find it. Where was it? Oh, I'm all. It keeps jumping on me so bad. I can't do this right now. I have so many scores. Everybody, here's the Big Pun one. Oh no, wait. I think I could go back sooner. He's got 28-27 Bengals because AFL 67 has 24-17 Steelers. Did I have that one? Brent had 24-12 Steelers. Lifelong, I'm doing some of these in reverse order. Lifelong 07 has 27-10 Steelers. I think that might have been the last one. Was there one before that? Because the one before that was Matthew. So there we go. And then Frosty the Bear has 41-13 Steelers. Man, I'd love to see them score 41 points. That would be pretty nice. Jim, Jensen, sorry, because I don't have last names on my screen. I have to wait for them to come up here. Has 27-10 good guys. Pittsburgh Toddy has 34-20 Steelers. Yeah, I've got so many scores coming. It's hard to do. You guys are doing a great job there in the live chat. Kevin Brokenborough has 34-13 Steelers. Jamie Carlo has 27-24 Steelers. I hope I didn't miss any in the middle. If I did, if you put it away early, I missed it. Please put it in again. Michael Hyrack has 48-14 Steelers. I like that one.
You like that one? Do the next one.
Yeah. Tim Pratt has 23-10.
Okay, Tim
Steelers.
stuck in there. Hope you're feeling better.
Because I saw this one here before. Mark Tobin, 51-10 Steelers. Hey, weren't you and I in attendance at the game on a Thursday night when the Steelers scored 50 points?
Yeah, I think we were.
That was the dilly
or
dilly.
Atlanta.
No, that was dilly dilly. I think it was Tennessee.
Okay, so that was Tennessee.
So Jamie Carlo, I think I already got him, but I think it's in here again. 24-27. I missed some of these, so I might have been skipping around. Kathy Forrid has 31-10 Steelers. Young and Woodburning has Steelers 23, Bengals 13. Matt Cat said Brian Brown said 31-27 in case I missed that. If I did, thank you there, Matt Cat. Felicia, hey Felicia. Felicia Ballard has 21-17 Steelers. People were trying to help me along where I was. K Mike has 27-24 Steelers. This one did go away. Richard Adamson has 24-18 Steelers. And I think that's all of them. If another one comes in, I'll try to grab it. Whew, that was a lot. And sorry, I kept skipping back, but you all did a great job. I'm excited about the Steelers. This is good. This is exciting. Honestly, if things don't go right Thursday night, I'm not going to let it. I'm telling myself right now, I got to get this out there. I've got to have it on video. I've got to have it on audio. I've got to have the proof to remind myself to play it back to me. If things don't go right Thursday, that's what you expected from Thursday Night Football. It's not the end of the world. Then it would be important to have that bounce back game coming back against Green Bay. If things do go right on Thursday Night Football, then I'm like, this is a Steelers trend breaker. They broke the week 3, week 4, can't win both games curse that they've been having. Mm-hmm. Can they break the road Thursday night curse? I think they could. That it's funny. I almost thought this was a score, and then I realized this isn't the CFL because Brian Brown said 16-1, baby. I'm not living in that world. And I'm not saying that the Steelers are the best team in the NFL or the AFC or anything right now. I'm just saying the Steelers have a good record. They're playing well and they're getting better. I want this to keep going in December. So I want that rising action still coming at us. Speaking of things that are still coming at us, you've got to be looking tomorrow, Wednesday, around 4:30 p.m. That's when you're going to see the Steelers preview. I know it's a little bit early, but the reason we have to go a little bit early is because we're still wanting to leave time for Pump Your Brakes. It will still be tomorrow night as well. So you will have 2 live shows tomorrow because Thursday night you're going to have a post-game show and everything. Things after that might look a little bit different because of some various things of when people can do shows and whatnot. So it might be a little bit different, but we're still going to have plenty of shows for you coming. We've just got so much happening between now and the game Thursday. I will tell you this, it's going to be a combo show Thursday morning. You won't have a last minute thoughts and a Pittsburgh Steelers time as 2 different shows. You're going to get a 2-for-1. That's what you're going to have there. That we have so much, we're trying to fit in everything that we normally fit in a week before this game without crushing you too much at steelcurtainnetwork.com. We've got lots of good stuff there. We've got a worthless 2 cents coming tomorrow. I've got my update on the comp picks. That's the only looking ahead for next year that I'm allowing myself to do. I've got some people like, well, what about the quarterbacks and comp? No, I'm enjoying this. I'm enjoying 4-1 right now. I'll look at the comp picks because that's done by looking at what the Steelers and other teams in the NFL are doing right now. I'll look at other stuff when it comes around. So we're going to keep bringing it. We're going to keep having it. Sorry you've heard a lot from me. I mean, my goodness, I had 3 podcasts on Sunday, 1 on Monday, only 1 on Tuesday this time, 1 on Wednesday, up to 4 on Thursday if there's any breaking news with a roster move late in the day before the game. Who knows? You're going to be so sick of Dave. You're going to say you're going to need the mini buy. You're going to need it. So, Rich, now that I've gone plenty over tonight, what do you want to say to close us out here tonight?
Well, I'd like to start off by saying, Dave, I've been sick of you for 47 years.
For how many years?
For a lot.
A lot. Yep.
So, however, we have a lot of fun doing this.
Yes, we do.
And part of the reason we have so much fun when we do this is because we have always been such Steeler fans.
Mm-hmm.
We've both always been big nerds to get into to looking at the nerdy stuff of football. And you know, we bleed black and gold. Hey, you know, put it this way. I was thinking about, last week I was like, oh, you know what? I think I want to go bow hunting next Thursday night. And then I was like, because I just wasn't thinking. I was like, oh, and then I was like, oh man, it's early muzzleloader season, so I can't even go out and bow hunt next Thursday night. And I was like, wait a minute, the Steelers play next Thursday night. All right.
Yeah.
Which then means I can go out Sunday afternoon because the Steelers aren't playing Sunday afternoon.
There you go.
But, it's going to be a late night Thursday night. My wife already knows it. She knows that I'll be up. I'll watch the entire game. I'll watch the Jeff and Dave and Brian on the post-game show, and then I'll go to bed and get up dragging. But I'm hoping that when I do that, I'm getting up and dragging into work on a Victory Friday. All right? But before I can get to Victory Friday, we got to get the Steelers through this game. Hey, lucky for me, technically I guess I don't even have to watch it on wherever they play it now. Where we
Amazon Prime.
Yeah, because see, I'll get the local feed, so
Yeah.
I'll probably watch the local feed. I'll skip the Amazon stuff. But I'll be there on my couch, with my Steelers gear on, cheering on my Steelers, that they're going to break this quote unquote Thursday night curse. Can't wait.
You gotta just chill out, man.
Can't wait.